Hi, my name is Shannon Hennig, and I'm a speech therapist who work with many children with various types of language delay. And when I'm teaching parents and teacher assistants how to support a child with language delay, one concept I often talk about is what I just call the anchor technique. It's not a formal term in any way. It's just the way I imagine that we have to anchor things to other things we know. So for example, if I was teaching a kid the word drink, we would not only be linking it to the real world and real world experiences, but we want to make sure they kind of understand what words go with drink. So you could have a hot drink. You could have a cold drink. You could have a big drink. You could have a drink of milk. And you could have a drink of water. Sometimes we use drink as a verb, sometimes we use it as a noun, but that's not so important for kids. What really helps them understand the boundary of a word is getting experience, feeling all the different words and experiencing the different words that go with that word. So if I'm working with a kid who's primarily speaking, this is just something I keep in my head. So let's say I want the kid to learn more about how the word open works. So I might say, all right, today I'm going to really emphasize the word open. So we might do something where we open the door, and then I close the door, and then we get to open the door again. Maybe we open the car door. Maybe we open the window a few times. And so they can see the difference between opening the door and opening the window, and they're getting more information about what this word open means. It's not just talking about doors or windows. Maybe we might say, don't open. Maybe we don't want to open it. Maybe there's a bee outside that window. Or maybe we need help opening up the juice box. So instead of always saying help, we might also be saying open. Maybe I demonstrate opening up the book. So let's say I'm trying to work on something like sign language, and I use a lot of key signs with kids who are primarily speaking. I use them with kids who might not even be able to do the motor skill just to help emphasize the word. And I often use it with kids who are going to use the sign to support their speech. So a really powerful one is again. It's hard to have a picture of again, but in New Zealand sign, again is just two fingers that go again. In American sign, again, again, again. So it depends on which country you're in. But I might say something like, ooh, we should do the song again. Ooh, should we read the book again? Again, depending on which place we are. I switch my signs quite a bit still. Oh, Shannon's going to do it again. Do you want to do it again? Do you? And make it a question. I can also do the same technique with picture symbols or communication devices. So let's say the word how. That might seem like a really fancy word, but we use it all the time. So I might use a communication device or a communication book, and I might say, how many do you want? So even if I'm only pointing to this and using my speech for the second point, how many? How do you want to do it? Should we go fast or slow? How do you feel? So just for that word how, I could ask about how do you do it, how many, how come. I'll just do one more question word because question words are really, really powerful for language development. Who's coming? Who's on the phone? Who's going to do it? Is another classic one. I'll just do one more, which might be another word that's a little hard to understand unless you see it in action, is the word do. So I might say, who likes ice cream? And I might model, I do. I might say, who else likes ice cream? And some other kid might say, I do. I might say, do you want to have a turn? How about you? Does your sister want a turn? Do it. I could be giving a direction. I could be saying who should do it. You do it. And then maybe I want to be all independent and be like, I do it. And so I could be modeling just with some very common words. I do it. Do it. Who? And I might still point to do and say, who does it? So you start getting the sense of do does a lot of question things. It gives us a way to say agreement. I do. I definitely do. And it gives us a way to give, to boss people around or give directions. So basically when I think of the anchor technique, I think of the word. What are some other words that can follow? What are some other words that can lead into it? And so I'm trying to get about 6 to 10 examples so that they can really get a feel for where those boundaries are. And that's what I call the anchor technique. If you have any questions, you can email me, not about spelling, at Shannon@inclusivecommunication, the hyphen between inclusive and communication.co.nz. Thanks so much.